Less than a year ago, armistice went into effect worldwide, but now the war that engulfed the entire world is finally over. There is talk of a treaty to officially end the war with Germany's allies. And now to Hank Shaw, live from Paris.
Thanks, Annie. I'm standing on the very ground where just a year ago, millions of people were interlocked in a seemingly never-ending struggle. But now, the whole world rejoices as peace finally returns to Europe and countries are coming together to sign the Treaty of Versailles. Now, even though it's not written in stone, there are some components that are almost definite. Now to June Hastings on the details.
It has been reported that the Axis and the Allied powers are beginning to reach an agreement. It has not been finalized yet, but my sources have told me that they are signing a treaty that will put the responsibility of the war, along with the reparation costs, on Germany. There is no doubt that the events that took place this year will never be forgotten. Thanks for tuning in, and join us next time for CRS News.
Developing story in India today as a man named Mohandas Gandhi leads a series of nonviolent protests against the British government in an effort to help give India her independence. I'm Annie Simmons.
And I'm June Hastings, and this is CRS News. Thank you for joining us this morning. Gandhi was just released after serving 2 years of a 6-year sentence due to a severe case of appendicitis. He is now continuing his nonviolent non-cooperation with the British government. While he was in jail, leaders of the independence movement abandoned his tactics, and a sort of schism began to form between the Muslims and the Hindus. Today, Gandhi began a 21-day fast to encourage unity between the two groups so they can conspire for independence from Britain.
Well, June, I hope that Gandhi's nonviolence works and whatever happens that there'll be no mass conflict.
Me too, Amy. Thanks for joining us today on CRS News. New details concerning the Immigration Act have developed. The government has approved the movement to decrease their tolerance for immigrants entering the United States. Now to Hank Shaw, who is live on the scene.
Thanks, June. I'm here live on Ellis Island, where they are beginning to implement the higher security and more restrictions on entry. The Immigration Act was approved in order to decrease the number of non-white and Eastern European immigrants entering America. They have enacted a quota system to encourage Northern Europeans to immigrate. Many people are gathering here to watch as a new border protection service is being built here. The events today are bound to have a major effect and will definitely change the course of American history. Back to you, June.
Thanks, Hank, and thank you all for tuning in to CRS News.
Some interesting news is the International Olympic Committee has just made public that because of the success of the Olympic in Chamonix, France, the IOC will be splitting the Olympics into Summer and Winter Olympic Games. With more information is Hank Shaw on the scene.
The news came in from the IOC headquarters, where the committee has just decided, based on the Games of 1924, to split the events into 2 separate groups, retroactively making the French Games the first Winter Olympics. Now, for those who cannot remember, the Games held some dominant performances. First, Norway unofficially conquered with the most medals, which were 17. But the spotlight was on the Canadian hockey team as they went on to score 110 goals in only 5 games. And in those 5 games, they only allowed 3 goals against them. Back to you, Jim.
Well, I think we can all see a good future for the Canadian team, as well as a great future for these Winter Games. That's all the time we have, and thanks for joining us for CRS News.
History is being made today in Paris, France, where Charles Lindbergh has just flown 3,600 miles across the Atlantic Ocean. He departed on the 20th from Long Island, New York, and arrived just over 33 hours later at Le Bourget Field. Now to Hank Shaw with the details. Hank?
Thanks, Annie. I'm here in Paris right now, where Charles Lindbergh is accepting his $25,000 reward for being the first man to fly solo non-stop across the Atlantic. It was Raymond Orteg, a hotel owner from New York, who set the challenge, and has been incomplete for 5 years until now. 6 men have even died trying to attempt this flight over the years because it is such a dangerous task. He set this challenge because of his strong interest in aviation and because he believes that it is key to progression in the future.
Well, Lindbergh has made America proud today, flying in the Spirit of St. Louis, a single-engine monoplane that he worked to design himself. President Coolidge has sent a U.S. Navy cruiser to bring him home. I'm sure he will want a long rest after that flight. Thank you for joining us.
Unfortunate news coming in now that the German economy has just completely crashed after it took a crippling hit from the U.S. stock market crash. Here's June Hastings for the details.
If people think the US is having a tough time, they should take a look at the situation from Germany. In Germany, it is a common practice to burn their currency in place of wood because it's cheaper. Children use bundles of cash as building blocks. How did all this happen, you may wonder? Well, it wasn't any one thing. First off, after World War I, Germany was forced to pay for reparations. Unemployment rose, and finding money was hard. But then, the US gave millions of dollars in the form of loans to the German government. But when the US stock market crashed, the US demanded the loans back. To pay, Germany started printing marks in great excess, causing inflation. Now, everyone has the marks, but they have no value, causing even more problems. What an unfortunate aftershock to such a terrible war.
Even though Germany was held accountable for World War I, you can't help but feel sorry for them. That's all the time we have today. I'm Annie Simmons, and this is CRS News. We are reporting to you today with breaking news. Just a few days ago, on Thursday, October 24th, we experienced a moment of fear when stock prices dropped and then rose again very quickly. However, today is a day that will go down in the history books because the prices have slipped again, and this time they're continuing to spiral downwards towards an all-time low. Now to Hank Shaw, who's live on the Wall Street.
Thanks, Annie. As you have already heard, the stock market has been hit and prices are falling to a devastatingly low number. Here on Wall Street, people are running to banks to withdraw their money, and banks all over the country are being overrun and being forced to close their doors for good. This morning, stocks began to slip, and due to the scare we had last week, people were very quick to pull out their stocks, resulting in a detrimental blow to Americans' stock market. We are already looking at months, maybe even years, of reconstructions of the economy ahead of us, folks. Back to you, Annie.
Thanks, Hank. Today has been a chaotic day, right, June?
Right, Annie. The whole country will be affected by the events that went down earlier today. With banks shutting down, I'm honestly not even sure what Americans will do to come back from this. We will have to hope for a miracle.
I agree, June. Well, thank you for joining us. And stay safe out there, folks. We'll catch you in the morning for an update. I'm Annie Simmons.
And I'm June Hastings. And this is CRS News.